Grotesque creatures are falling from the sky right now, recorded clearly, breaking science, reality, and every rule known.
This isn't speculation, it's footage that shouldn't exist. Misshapen bodies tear through clouds like discarded experiments, limbs twisted, proportions wrong, eyes burning as if they know they're being watched. The sky no longer feels empty, it feels active, hostile, alive. These things don't arrive like meteors or aircraft. They drop, stumble, observe, sometimes vanish mid-fall, as if gravity itself hesitates to claim them. Every video ends the same way: silence, disbelief, and a question no expert wants to answer. Are these mutations, weapons, or something adapting faster than we can document it? The most terrifying part isn't what falls. It's what stays above, unseen, deciding when to let go. This series isn't about monsters. It's about a boundary breaking overhead, and humanity realizing too late that the sky was never neutral. Watch closely. This footage doesn't want to be ignored.
Before we go deeper, like, comment, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered right now.
The Ashen Sky Leviathan. Above the Nevada high desert, a privately contracted survey drone streaming live terrain data abruptly recorded a massive shape, peeling itself out of the cloud layer as the lone operator froze at the controls. A stretched silhouette slid downward, caught on camera. Its spine buckled midair, filmed without warning. White reflective eyes flared, scientists shocked. The figure appeared to change height as it descended, limbs elongating and folding at extra joints, skin pale gray and oily like overheated machinery. Its movement jerky, yet capable of explosive speed, hunched like a wrecked pickup dragged by gravity, but suddenly cutting sideways with the precision of an NFL sprinter, leading some analysts to suggest catastrophic gene expression triggered by long-term radiation saturation from nearby testing ranges, while others point to early Southwest Chupacabra reports describing airborne entities with malformed proportions and reflective eyes. The operator later claimed the cabin filled with a smell like hot metal and rotting tissue, and if something can drop from the sky without warning, how many times has it already watched us look up too late? Unidentified cloudwalker form. Over open farmland in eastern Colorado, a weather enthusiast filming cloud formation noticed a humanoid shape drifting unnaturally between layers while reviewing the footage afterward. A figure hovered, caught on camera. Limbs bent the wrong way, filmed against blue. Green eyes scanned the lens. No one believed. Its proportions never stabilized, legs hanging unevenly, while arms stretched too long with extra joints flexing independently, skin blotched and pale like soaked concrete, movement stuttering as if struggling with gravity before snapping sideways in bursts of speed, prompting speculation about abnormal evolution within high-altitude radiation pockets where tissue density and muscle response may develop incorrectly, echoing skinwalker legends from the plains that describe skyborn watchers mimicking human shape, but failing to replicate it accurately. Witnesses reported a faint sound, layered like wind through broken metal, mixed with a distorted human tone. And if it can observe us from inside the clouds, what happens when it learns to descend quietly? The Greenstorm Colossus. In a residential Oklahoma neighborhood, a delivery driver's dashboard camera captured a towering presence forming inside a thundercloud as the sky turned sickly green. A massive outline unfolded, caught on camera. Appendages stretched wider than streets, filmed through rain. Eyes reflected lightning green. Scientists shocked. The creature's height fluctuated as it rose and compressed within the storm, limbs twisted and branching like collapsed crane beams, skin cracked and darkened as if burned internally, moving slow and heavy before accelerating unnaturally fast, heavy as a bison, yet silent as a stalking cat, suggesting possible bioelectric adaptation caused by chronic exposure to electromagnetic storms and industrial pollutants, while historical Dover demon sightings describe similarly disproportionate figures appearing during severe weather events. The air reportedly smelled of ozone and decay long after the storm passed, and if storms can now carry observers inside them, who decides when the sky is no longer empty? The window strike aberrant. At cruising altitude, a commercial passenger filmed a wingside view when something slammed briefly into the outer window frame and kept pace. A malformed body appeared, caught on camera. Wings snapped wrong, filmed inches away. Eyes flashed white. No one believed. The entity resembled a bird only in outline, with limbs too long and jointed incorrectly, skin stretched pale and cracked, movement spasmodic before locking into sudden precision flight, its size seeming to expand and contract as if its mass was unstable, leading some biologists to consider extreme mutation of avian tissue under high-altitude radiation, combined with pressure-induced deformation, while others quietly note similarities to Loveland Frogman reports involving hybridized anatomy and reflective eyes. Passengers described a vibration like metal scraping bone. And if something can fly beside us at altitude, how long before it learns where we sit? The dust-tail serpent. Across a barren desert horizon, a long-bodied form burst upward trailing sand while a stationary wildlife camera continued recording. A coiling shape rose, caught on camera. Its head split wide, filmed in silence. Eyes reflected pale white, scientists shocked. The creature's length appeared inconsistent as its body rippled through the air, skin dry and cracked with oily patches, limbs absent except for malformed protrusions near the head. Movement smooth, then violently fast, producing a sound like wind forced through rusted pipes mixed with a strained human breath, leading researchers to speculate on radical spinal mutation in subterranean organisms exposed to chemical dumping, recalling ancient serpent myths that describe watchers emerging only when no one expects movement. The sand afterwards smelled like heated iron and rot, and if the ground itself can now look back, where is left to stand unseen? The rooftop crow hybrid. In Oregon, a homeowner filming strange noises at dusk captured a winged figure standing upright along a roofline, perfectly still. A tall avian shape froze, caught on camera, arms unfolded like wings, filmed shaking. Green eyes reflected, no one believed. Its height shifted as it straightened, legs too long and thin with joints bending unnaturally, skin dark and patchy beneath sparse feathers, movement hesitant before snapping into sudden balance corrections, suggesting a failed hybridization or mutation event affecting skeletal development and muscle signaling, echoing long-standing chupacabra folklore from the Pacific Northwest, where bird-like silhouettes were reported observing homes from elevated positions. The witness described a smell like hot metal and decay drifting down afterward. And if it can stand above our houses without moving, how many nights has it already waited for us to look away? The Fog Lake Observer. At the edge of a mountain lake drowned in morning fog, multiple bystanders filming on their phones unknowingly recorded a colossal shape rising silently from the water while the shoreline remained unnaturally still. A towering mass emerged, caught on camera. Its outline shifted and swelled, filmed through mist. Pale eyes reflected faint light, no one believed. The figure's height appeared inconsistent as it lifted itself higher, its lower body dissolving into fog while elongated limbs unfolded at incorrect angles, joints bending where none should exist, skin pale gray and slick as if coated in oil, moving slowly at first before adjusting position with sudden, precise speed, producing a low sound like wind forced through industrial ducts layered with a strained human tone, leading some investigators to suggest extreme aquatic mutation influenced by prolonged isolation and chemical runoff, while its silhouette mirrors early Dover Demon accounts describing massive watchers rising near bodies of water during low visibility conditions. Witnesses later described the air smelling faintly of hot metal and decay, and if something can stand unseen in fog while dozens stare directly at it, how often has it already practiced being invisible? The skyborn Drake anomaly. High above layered cloud cover, a passenger filming the open sky captured a winged figure crossing the frame with deliberate control rather than flight. A dark shape cut across, caught on camera. Wings flexed unevenly, filmed against clouds. Eyes flashed white, scientists shocked. The entity resembled a reptilian form only in profile, with a torso stretched too long, limbs asymmetrical and jointed incorrectly, skin dark and cracked along the spine, its movement erratic before locking into a sudden glide that defied wind resistance, suggesting either catastrophic mutation of avian DNA or an entirely separate evolutionary branch adapted to thin air and radiation exposure, heavy as a bison, yet maneuvering with the silence of a stalking cat, leaving analysts unsettled by how intentionally it corrected its path mid-air. No engine noise or aircraft turbulence accompanied its passage, and if something can navigate our airspace without wings that obey physics, what else has learned to fly unnoticed? The falling horned form. Against a blank gray sky, a vertical video captured a horned figure dropping rapidly while leaving a faint vapor trail behind it. A body plunged downward, caught on camera, limbs locked close, filmed in freefall. Reflective eyes flickered green. No one believed. Its proportions distorted as it fell, shoulders broad while the lower body narrowed unnaturally, arms too long and bent inward at extra joints, skin darkened and patchy as if burned or scarred. Movement rigid until a sudden mid-air correction hinted at controlled descent, producing a sound described as mechanical whine, layered with rushing wind and a muffled human groan, raising theories of radical skeletal deformation under experimental exposure conditions rather than simple atmospheric phenomena. The figure vanished before impact was recorded, and if something can fall from the sky without fear of the ground, what does it know about surviving where we can't? The Powerline Tentacle Event. A stationary security camera aimed at a residential street recorded an elongated organic structure wrapped around utility lines without triggering motion alerts. A fleshy limb swayed, caught on camera. Circular nodes pulsed, filmed in silence. Dozens of eyes reflected white, scientists shocked. The appendage's length appeared impossible to gauge, its surface red and slick with pale circular formations resembling embedded eyes or sensory organs. Skin cracked and oily like overheated insulation, moving slowly before snapping into sudden tension adjustments that rattled the lines, suggesting abnormal nerve distribution and tissue growth possibly linked to industrial contamination. While similar descriptions appear in chupacabra-adjacent folklore where disembodied feeding structures were reported near infrastructure rather than animals. Residents later complained of a smell like hot metal mixed with rotting tissue lingering for hours. And if something can anchor itself above our streets without being seen arrive, how long has it already been connected? The long-tailed descender. Across open plains at sunset, a distant camera captured a massive figure arcing downward, as if dragged by its own trailing mass. A body tilted earthward, caught on camera. Its tail stretched endlessly, filmed shaking. Eyes reflected pale green. No one believed. The creature's height fluctuated as it descended, upper torso compact while the lower body elongated into a whip-like extension, limbs twisted and uneven, skin mottled gray-green and slick, movement jerky, before accelerating suddenly with explosive force, producing a sound like wind tearing through broken machinery mixed with a strained vocalization, leading some to theorize gravitational adaptation or failed airborne mutation rather than true flight. The ground beneath showed no impact crater afterward, and if something can descend without landing, where exactly does it go when it leaves our line of sight? The Floating Sky Watchers. At dusk over a suburban skyline, multiple residents filmed pale shapes drifting slowly above power lines, moving independently of wind. 3 forms hovered, caught on camera. Tendrils undulated beneath, filmed at sunset. Eyes glowed faint white. Scientists shocked. Each entity appeared oblong and semi-translucent, with dangling limb-like filaments bending at irregular intervals. Skin pale and slick like damp membrane, their height and size shifting subtly, as if pulsing. Movement slow and deliberate before sudden synchronized repositioning, emitting a low hum reminiscent of electrical interference blended with distant breathing, suggesting either non-terrestrial biological adaptation or an atmospheric mutation responding to electromagnetic fields. No shadows appeared beneath them despite clear light, and if something can float above our homes while watching silently together, what signal tells them when to move closer? The lightning spine apparition. In a narrow mountain ravine during a sudden electrical storm, a solo backpacker filming lightning strikes on a phone camera captured a massive spine-like form carving itself through the clouds above him. A curved body ignited the sky, caught on camera. Segments flexed like joints, filmed between strikes. White light pulsed where eyes should be, scientists shocked. The figure appeared taller with every arc of lightning, its body bending at impossible angles. Limbs either absent or fused into glowing tendrils, skin indistinguishable from electrical discharge, yet moving with deliberate control, jerky and then violently fast, like a downed power line snapping back to life, leading some theorists to suggest a biological structure adapted to electromagnetic energy rather than flesh, possibly an extreme mutation triggered by repeated lightning exposure in high-altitude environments where radiation and ionization peak. The witness later described the air smelling sharply of hot metal and burned tissue. And if something can shape itself out of lightning and watch us from above, what does it do when the storm finally ends? The cloud-faced predator. In a suburban neighborhood, a resident filming unusual cloud formations unintentionally recorded a massive facial structure forming and holding shape above the rooftops. A mouth opened in vapor, caught on camera. Teeth condensed from cloud mass, filmed clearly. Dark eye sockets stared downward. No one believed. The formation maintained a stable height while surrounding clouds moved freely. Its features grotesquely asymmetrical. Skin texture resembling dense smoke compacted into flesh. Movement slow and breathing-like before the jaw snapped wider with sudden speed, producing a low sound like wind forced through broken concrete tunnels mixed with a distorted human exhale, suggesting either an atmospheric organism capable of structural cohesion or a mutated life form using cloud density as camouflage, echoing historical sightings of sky predators described in early Midwestern storm folklore. The temperature reportedly dropped several degrees directly beneath it, and if the sky can assemble a face just to look back, how long has it been learning what frightens us most? The fog serpent descender. Across a coastal plain drowned in heavy mist, a stationary camera recorded a long-bodied shape sliding horizontally through the fog before angling downward. A narrow head emerged, caught on camera. Its body followed endlessly, filmed in silence. Eyes reflected pale green, scientists shocked. The creature's length appeared inconsistent, its spine rippling while sections faded in and out of visibility, limbs absent except for malformed protrusions near the head, skin dark and slick like wet stone, movement fluid until punctuated by sudden bursts of speed that displaced fog violently, producing a sound like wind tearing through hollow metal, leading researchers to suspect extreme adaptation to low-visibility environments, where visual detection favors elongated sensory bodies over stable anatomy. No tracks or ground disturbance were found afterward, and if something can descend from the fog without ever touching the earth, where exactly is it standing when we think it's gone? The multi-limb skyrunner. In an isolated valley under heavy cloud cover, a long-range camera caught a dark figure moving laterally through the air as if running on an invisible surface. A bulky mass crossed the frame, caught on camera. Multiple limbs cycled beneath it, filmed jerking. Eyes flashed white mid-stride. No one believed. The entity's body appeared compressed yet powerful, with too many limbs extending and retracting at incorrect intervals, joints bending backward, skin dark and matted as if burned or oil-soaked, its movement staggered and unnatural before accelerating to impossible speed, hunched like a wrecked pickup, but moving with the efficiency of an NFL sprinter, prompting speculation about radical musculoskeletal mutation, allowing traction against dense air layers rather than solid ground. Observers reported a rhythmic sound like mechanical pistons mixed with strained breathing. And if something can run where nothing exists beneath it, how long before it learns to stop needing distance at all? The hillside bone shadow. Along a barren ridgeline under a low sky, a drone survey feed captured a creature drifting forward with multiple hanging appendages swaying beneath it. A skeletal silhouette floated, caught on camera. Limbs dangled like broken cables, filmed shaking. Eyes glinted faint white, scientists shocked. Its height fluctuated constantly, torso thick while lower sections thinned into jointed strands. Skin rough and dark with pale patches, suggesting exposed tissue. Movement slow and buoyant before sudden lateral surges, silent despite its size, leading analysts to consider extreme low-density tissue adaptation or post-industrial mutation in abandoned regions, exposed to chemical runoff and long-term isolation. The drone operator noted a lingering smell of decay mixed with hot iron near the launch site afterward. And if something can drift across open land without casting a shadow, what does it see when it looks straight through us? The skyborn winged witness. At a large outdoor gathering, dozens of people filming the overcast sky recorded a bright, winged figure holding position above the crowd. A luminous form appeared, caught on camera. Wings spread unnaturally wide, filmed shaking. Reflective eyes glowed through haze. No one believed. The entity's proportions shifted as it hovered, wings too long and bending at extra joints, body pale and indistinct as if wrapped in translucent membrane, movement hesitant before sudden stabilizing corrections, emitting a faint hum like electrical interference mixed with a distant human tone, suggesting either advanced biological adaptation to atmospheric currents or a heavily mutated airborne organism capable of sustained observation rather than flight. The crowd reported sudden silence from birds and insects below, and if something can hover above hundreds of witnesses without fear of exposure, what does it know about how rarely we look up together? The Sky-Eye Descent. Above a quiet residential block, a homeowner filming an approaching storm cell on a phone captured a circular void forming inside the cloud ceiling, its center burning faintly as the camera continued rolling. A ring opened overhead, caught on camera. Light pulsed inward, filmed without thunder. Something blinked inside. No one believed. The formation behaved less like weather and more like anatomy, its diameter expanding and contracting as if breathing, edges folding unevenly, while inner layers rippled with heat-like distortion, suggesting a massive organism using cloud density as structural tissue rather than vapor, with internal movement jerky at first before stabilizing into deliberate control, heavy as a bison, yet suspended effortlessly, leading some investigators to speculate about abnormal evolution within extreme atmospheric radiation zones, where energy replaces muscle, while older Midwestern folklore describes sky wounds that open only to observe, never to land. The air beneath reportedly smelled briefly of hot metal before the clouds sealed again. And if the sky can open an eye above our houses, how often has it already watched without blinking? The Coastal Light Disk. Off a dark shoreline at dusk, a beachgoer filming the horizon caught a low hovering object holding position above the waves while the water remained unnaturally calm. A flat shape hovered, caught on camera, colored points rotated, filmed steadily. No sound followed, scientists shocked. The object's outline appeared rigid yet organic, its underside uneven and subtly pulsing as if layered with living tissue beneath a hardened shell, movement smooth and controlled before abrupt micro-adjustments that defied wind shear, prompting speculation that this was not a craft but a mutated aerial organism adapted to maritime radiation exposure, possibly using bioluminescent nodes as sensory organs rather than lights, its silence more unsettling than any engine. The witness later reported a faint electrical taste in the air, and if something can wait above the ocean without surfacing or sinking, what signal tells it when we've noticed too much? The industrial giant form. Beyond a refinery perimeter, a fixed security camera recorded a towering silhouette rising through chemical haze as warning lights continued blinking uninterrupted. A massive frame emerged, caught on camera. Spines cut through fog, filmed shaking. Green eyes reflected off metal. No one believed. The entity's height shifted as it straightened, shoulders broad while its lower body seemed partially dissolved into mist, limbs too long and jointed incorrectly, skin dark, cracked and slick like oil-soaked concrete, moving with slow weight before accelerating in short, violent bursts, hunched like a wrecked pickup, yet capable of sudden precision, leading analysts to suspect catastrophic mutation driven by prolonged industrial exposure rather than mechanical origin, echoing rare Loveland frogman reports that described similarly malformed giants near chemical sites. Sensors logged a brief temperature spike without fire, and if something can rise inside our factories unnoticed, how long has it been learning what we build them for? The Skyfield Harvester. Over open farmland under a collapsing storm front, a long lens camera captured a multi-limbed shape drifting low above the fields, its legs dangling and flexing independently. A broad body floated, caught on camera. Too many limbs adjusted, filmed unevenly. White eyes flickered once, scientists shocked. The creature's proportions never stabilized, torso compact while elongated appendages bent at extra joints, skin pale gray and stretched tight like overheated rubber, movement hesitant and jerky before snapping into sudden lateral speed, producing a sound described as wind force through rusted machinery, layered with a faint human moan, suggesting a radical musculoskeletal mutation, allowing interaction with dense air rather than ground, possibly an evolutionary offshoot triggered by agricultural chemical saturation and isolation. Crops beneath showed no disturbance afterward, and if something can move across our fields without touching the soil, what exactly is it taking note of? The Camp Skyweaver. Above a temporary settlement at the edge of scrubland, multiple phones recorded a spider-like mass descending slowly through low clouds as people froze in place. A many-legged shape lowered, caught on camera. Joints bent backward, filmed trembling. Eyes glinted pale green, no one believed. Its body appeared hollow in places, limbs too long and uneven, skin dark and fibrous with oily patches, movement slow and deliberate before sudden corrections that snapped it higher again. Silent despite its size, leading some researchers to theorize extreme low-density tissue adaptation or partial hollowing of internal structures to survive prolonged suspension, while ancient desert myths describe watchers that descend only to measure, not to strike. Witnesses reported a smell like hot iron mixed with rot lingering briefly, and if something can hover over a camp without choosing a target, what determines when it finally does? The fog-born titan. In an industrial yard swallowed by heavy mist, a handheld camera captured a towering, multi-limbed figure stepping forward as lights flickered behind it. A colossal form advanced, caught on camera. Limbs scraped air, filmed shaking. Reflective eyes burned white, scientists shocked. The entity's height appeared to increase as it moved closer, limbs too long and segmented like collapsed crane beams, skin pale and cracked with glowing fissures beneath. Movement uneven and jerky before accelerating with frightening precision. Heavy as a freight engine, yet nearly silent, prompting speculation of a biomechanical mutation where tissue growth incorporates heat and light as functional components rather than byproducts. The fog afterward carried a sharp metallic odor, and if something can grow larger the closer it comes, how far away does it need to be to feel safe watching us first? The mountain tentacle colossus. High in a snow-choked mountain pass, a long-range drone surveying avalanche risk recorded a massive figure forcing itself between cliffs as the remote operator watched the feed destabilize. A bulk moved forward, caught on camera. Red appendages dragged through mist, filmed shaking. Eyes reflected pale white, no one believed. The creature's height shifted as it advanced, its central mass hunched and uneven, while multiple elongated limbs hung and flexed independently, joints bending where anatomy should not allow, skin thick, mottled, and wet-looking, as if half-frozen tissue had reanimated, moving slow and grinding before surging forward with sudden speed, like a stalled engine kicking back to life, leading some analysts to speculate on extreme cold-induced mutation combined with long-term isolation beneath glacial pressure, while old alpine folklore describes watchers that descend only when valleys fall silent. Snow samples later carried a metallic, rotten odor, and if something can walk down from the mountains without leaving tracks, how long has it been waiting above us? The window-clinging sky parasite. At cruising altitude, a passenger filming cloud cover through an airplane window captured a multi-limbed organism attaching itself to the outer fuselage. A body latched on, caught on camera. Limbs hooked metal, filmed inches away. Green eyes locked inward. Scientists shocked. The entity's proportions distorted as it clung, torso compact while limbs stretched too long with extra joints flexing independently, skin pale and slick like overheated cartilage. Movement spasmodic before settling into deliberate stillness, producing a faint vibration through the window like mechanical scraping mixed with a strained human whine, prompting theories of a parasitic airborne life form adapted to pressure, radiation, and heat gradients rather than oxygen, capable of matching aircraft speed without propulsion. No alarms were triggered before it released and vanished, and if something can ride our planes unnoticed, how many destinations has it already memorized? The Skysphere Swarm Core. Over a dense metropolitan area, a stabilized aerial camera recorded a massive spherical structure hovering motionless above the skyline, its surface alive with countless points of light. A globe formed overhead, caught on camera. Lights pulsed inward, filmed steadily. The air fell silent, no one believed. The object's diameter subtly expanded and contracted, its surface behaving like layered tissue rather than metal, lights blinking in non-random patterns suggesting internal signaling rather than illumination, movement absent yet presence overwhelming, heavy as a mountain yet suspended effortlessly, leading some researchers to hypothesize a colony organism composed of countless smaller units operating as a single neural body, possibly an advanced stage of the same mutations seen in earlier sky entities. Cell towers beneath experienced synchronized interference. And if something can hover above an entire city without moving, is it observing individuals or populations? The high-altitude jellyfish event. During sunset at 30,000 feet, a handheld camcorder recorded a translucent organism drifting just above the cloud layer as a timestamp burned into the footage. A glowing form floated, caught on camera. Tendrils trailed downward, filmed calmly. Its core pulsed softly, scientists shocked. The entity resembled a jellyfish only superficially, its bell irregular and shifting, tendrils stretching too long and thinning into thread-like filaments, skin translucent and iridescent with internal light patterns, movement smooth and drifting before snapping suddenly sideways against prevailing winds, emitting a low hum like electrical interference mixed with breath, suggesting a bioluminescent organism feeding on atmospheric energy rather than matter. Flight instruments briefly misread altitude, and if something can live above the clouds without falling, what does it consider the ground to be? The cloud mimics sentinel. In a rural clearing, a resident filming unusual cloud shapes recorded a towering formation holding a humanoid posture far longer than weather should allow. A shape stood upright, caught on camera. Shoulders and head defined, filmed clearly. It did not move, no one believed. The formation maintained consistent height and structure, arms too long and asymmetrical, torso misshapen, surface texture dense and layered like compacted muscle disguised as vapor, motion absent except for subtle internal shifts, leading some investigators to theorize a camouflage-capable organism capable of restructuring cloud mass around a stable biological core, a tactic echoed in skinwalker legends describing watchers that imitate familiar outlines without copying function. Birds avoided the airspace entirely, and if something can learn our shape just to stand still and watch, what happens when it finally starts to walk? The multi-limb sky convergence. Across a clear afternoon sky, multiple witnesses recorded a tangled mass of limbs and glowing cores assembling briefly before dispersing into clouds. Several bodies merged, caught on camera. Limbs overlapped unnaturally, filmed shaking. Red and white eyes flickered, scientists shocked. The convergence appeared temporary and purposeful, bodies folding into one another despite mismatched anatomy, limbs bending through each other as if density were optional, skin textures varying from pale membrane to cracked, dark tissue, movement chaotic before resolving into coordinated alignment, suggesting communication or data exchange rather than feeding, possibly indicating a networked species capable of brief physical congregation before separating to observe independently. The sky cleared seconds later, leaving nothing behind. And if they only come together to share what they've seen, how much do they already know about us now? What these recordings leave us with is not answers, but a deeper unease. Across different places, cameras, and witnesses, the sky itself appears to change behavior. Shapes forming too deliberately, movements too aware, silences too intentional. Whether these entities are mutations, misidentified phenomena, or something still learning how to exist alongside us, one truth remains. We are no longer just observing the unknown. Something may be observing back. These moments remind us how fragile certainty really is, and how quickly the familiar world can feel watched, measured, or tested. Every clip raises the same quiet question. If this is what we are allowed to see, what happens beyond the edge of the footage? If you felt that chill, that pause before disbelief, you're not alone. Join the investigation. Like the video, leave your theories in the comments, and subscribe to Mystery Footage Uncovered, because the truth rarely announces itself, and the next piece may already be recording.